Hey guys, how's it going? I just barely got back from CTN yesterday, and I decided to hurry and try and record this video today and tell you guys what it was like. Now, there's a couple things. First of all, I haven't even unpacked my other microphone, so I'm using this big microphone. I hope it sounds okay. And the second thing is, you go to these events planning on certain things. I shouldn't even say what I'm trying to do because sometimes it just doesn't work out. For example, I tried to get some interviews, but the whole place was just so loud. It was crazy, and I don't have windscreens on my little microphones, so it was loud walking through outside of some of the studios. So I apologize for that. I just want to kind of tell you in advance what went down, but I did get some footage, and I met some amazing people, and I talked to a lot of people that want to do pro interviews, so I'm super excited about that, and I took a bunch of pictures. So I just kind of wanted to walk you through the experience that I had when I went down to Burbank for CTN 2018. Also, I'm going to try a slide thing. So I'm using OBS, which is Open Broadcast Software. That's what I record with. And I'm going to try and use a slideshow along with me speaking over it. And I'm trying this because I want to try it with my lessons, which I've built. I've built the scripts and the slides and things like that, and I want to do the same thing with my lessons. So it's more of a kind of a conversational thing, kind of like this that I'm doing right now. But I said, hey, I thought, hey, I might as well test it in this kind of low-key thing that I'm doing now rather than an absolute lesson. So let's get to it. I'm going to switch over to the slides now. And here is my first slide. So my mouse is going slow over the top. So this is CTNX 2018. So CTN stands for Creative Talent Network Expo. Okay, so that's the first thing. I went with my friend Worth Daly. Yes, his first name is Worth, which is a fantastic name. Anyway, he is a level designer and world builder, and he worked with me on Disney Infinity, and he went with me because he's never been to CTN before. And the first day we arrived, we were kind of free, didn't know what to do in LA, so we decided to go to the Griffith Observatory. That's kind of hard to say, but what's crazy is you can see all the way across LA from this vantage point. It's up on a hill, and inside those domes, I'm going to go back so you can see those domes on the left one and the right one. They're actual telescopes inside those domes that you can look through at night. We were obviously there during the day, so we didn't look through them, but in that large dome in the back is a planetarium, and we didn't have time to see any of their shows, but it was super cool. I wanted to show you guys. And you can see that trail on the left there. See this trail right here? Worth and I actually decided to walk down this trail about 3 miles, and it was really fun and enlightening, and got some exercise in, so that was fun. And inside the observatory was this really cool bronze statue of Einstein, and we couldn't figure out what he was doing. I need to figure it out, but I kind of thought that he was kind of checking out his booger or something like that. So I took a picture of it. It's pretty funny. Anyway, and another really cool thing inside the observatory was this moon, and it was actually a piece of the moon inside this case. So it was just really crazy to think about. There was an actual rock, a piece of the moon was right there, and I could look at it. Crazy. So the day after that, I met up with my friend Letitia, and she allowed me Worth and I, to go through DreamWorks Studios. Now, the problem with this is they would only let me film outside. I had to sign an NDA, and we talked behind closed doors, and they were able to show me some stuff that they're working on. Letitia's working on Trolls 2, which was fantastic. And I also met my good friend Garrett Pond, who used to be an intern at Disney Interactive with me. And he's a fantastic guy, and he's now on Letitia's team working here at DreamWorks. And I did make a video for you guys, so hopefully it rolls well. So let's try it out. Guys, we're in DreamWorks now. This is the back side of the entrance. That's the guard gate. And a big parking garage right to the right of it. And then if you look over here, this is like the main entrance. And I'll kind of walk you guys down. And so this is the house that Shrek built, is Worth like to say. And if you come over here, it's a gorgeous campus. And you can see they have this fountain here, all these nice trees. It's just incredible. So they built all this. The rumor is they built all this so they could lure people over here from Disney Feature and other studios. So this is kind of why it's so nice, just to lure people over here. So we're on the back side of that fountain, and you can see DreamWorks right here, and then there's one of the buildings there, and across, and this is there's like a coffee shop and kind of this outdoor eating area. And I'm going to take you over here and have you look down inside. It's really cool. So they have these walkways and this bridge and stuff. But you can look and see this fountain. There's the panda down there. And this is a fountain. Look at those koi fish in there. Look at those big koi fish. Delicious. There's kind of just eating area. So you have this big building all around here. Really cool. Yeah, so excuse me, that was the really cool campus that DreamWorks has. And I also met this guy named Brian Jeffcoats, and he's just fabulous. He's been back and forth between DreamWorks and Disney for a long time. And what's interesting about Brian is he's been there for so long. I think he's been like 5 years at one, 7 years at another, back and forth. And he actually has a course over at Mold 3D called Making Appealing Heads or Faces. I know some of you have taken that course. He's a fantastic instructor. I highly recommend his course. Anyway, he was a lot of fun to talk to. Let's see. And here's a picture of Letitia and Garrett Pond. They're fantastic. I love those guys. So yeah, Letitia is the one who got me work at, well, she had a hand at getting me work at Blizzard doing that skin. So she used to work on the Overwatch team for Blizzard, and now she works at DreamWorks. So fantastic people. Love those guys to death. And Letitia has also been one of the judges for one of our character challenges. So that's Letitia. That's what she looks like. Then, so my friend Worth, you saw him in that video, I think. Well, if not, you'll see him later. Anyway, he does props and he does environments and things like that. And he has done some props for Rick and Morty. So he worked on Rick and Morty. He did some, I don't know if you're familiar with Rick and Morty, but if you're familiar with season 2, there was a Mad Max episode, and he did a lot of the cars in that. And if you're familiar with Pickle Rick, he did the weapons for Pickle Rick, stuff like that. So we had a really nice opportunity to go check out the studio. There's a friend of his that works there, and they were able to show us around. And I wasn't able to go back in the back, but this is the lobby. There's a really cool sculpt. Well, there's a couple sculpts of Rick and Morty, and there's like a title page from all of their episodes that are hanging on the wall there. And you can see that case full of toys and things like that. It's really cool, really fun to walk around and check things out. And on our way out of there, we actually saw, I got to meet, what's his name? Hardman. So one of the co-creators, Dan Hardman. So one of the co-creators, he was kind of leaving for the day, and we happened to be leaving as well, and we rode the elevator with him, and you know, I was able to say, you know, thank you for creating this, and it was really cool. So anyway, that was Rick and Morty. That was another stop on our trip. That was fantastic. Then the next day we were able to visit Disney Feature Animation. Now this is the old building, and you will be seeing they did a renovation over the last 2 years. So this is what it used to look like. And I took some video. Again, they wouldn't let us videotape inside beyond the entrance. So, and be warned, when this first starts, let's see, when this first starts, there's a lot of wind until we go inside. But I met Tyler Bulliard. He was also another one of the judges for our character challenges, but he was able to take us through, and I met some cool people. Anyway, I'll try and show you. I tried to show you guys as much as I could, but when you walked up here, the Wreck-It Ralph just released. I think it's released this weekend, and you can see there's this cool chalk drawing right near the entrance. I took a picture from the side. You can see how it's all stretched out, and then it's kind of a fake perspective kind of a look. So looking straight down, you can see on the right-hand side how it's a really cool picture. Anyway, I'll let you watch this. Like I said, there's two parts to this. There's this part that's showing the new building, the brand new building. This is where most of the work is done. And then the second video is over across the street in the old campus. And when I say old, I mean old. I'm talking about when Walt Disney was still alive, when Roy Disney was still alive, and they were over on the other side. And that's where all of the old hand-drawn animation was done. Those buildings are still there, still standing. They don't do any of the animation in those buildings any longer, but those buildings are there, and you can tour around that facility. It's really cool. So I take you around there too. So, all right, here we go. Guys, I'm here at the Disney Feature Studios. You work.
So I'm here at Disney.
There's Mel Milton right there.
Here,
See, this is Mel Milton. there's Worth. These are the guys I'm here with. This is the entrance. Roy E. Disney Animation. We're all doing our video right now. Yep, we're all filming.
pretending like, because they won't let me.
Right.
Here we go. Here we go.
Right. Okay, you did it. Thanks. Let me see if I can aim up. This is inside the hat. There's a window and some stairs that go upstairs. Hey, it's Tyler. You guys remember Tyler? We did that interview with him. Anyway, we're here at Disney Feature, and we're going down the hall. Wreck-It Ralph is coming out next week, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
November 21st.
So cool. Look at all this stuff. So, did you have a hand in any of this stuff that we're looking at here?
I worked on Shank. It was a big story.
Oh, which one is that? Oh, this one, really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Development and hair and everything.
No way. All right, let's check out this.
Yeah, so this is kind of like our gallery area. So every time we work on a new film, I kind of like rearrange this and put up a bunch of art.
Oh, right. Some hand-painted looked-at shots back there. So cool. Let me see this. Oh, this is cool. This is the internet. The internet from Wreck-It Ralph. That's awesome. So Tyler, which ones did you work on?
I worked on Pocahontas and Ami.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, there's
These are great. Who, you know who did these?
Ami Thompson is a concept artist.
Gotta love Mel. He's awesome. I forgot to tell you guys that Mel Milton was there with me. If you guys aren't fans, or if you guys are fans of Mel Made Dukes is what his handle is. Let's see. Let me go over here. Okay. So this is the second video, and it starts. They have a television studio here in the front, and then there's a bunch of the old buildings in back, and a lot of the old buildings are still around, like I said. So here we go. Old studio. lot, the old back lot. This is Mel and Perry and Tyler again. We're just walking across to the older buildings. Now these are actually studio buildings. Oh, they do TV shows here right now?
Yeah, TV shows.
TV shows. Nice. Isn't the old ink and paint? Right here. Okay. Right up there. Let's see the old. And there's a water tower. The old animation building. The street sign's down here, yeah? So you'll see this. It says Dopey Drive in between. Special effects layout department. Mickey Avenue. Animation multiplane ink and paint. Pretty cool. So this is the old animation building right here. You can see it says animation above. Right there. And then this is the theater where they would premiere most of the movies like Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
See that right there? This is the other side of the animation building. We're actually going to go and check it out. They have a tunnel running through here to the other, across to the other building. And this is where they would run the cells across because they didn't want to run them through the rain. We are walking under the Seven Dwarves building. If you look up there, you can see them. I'll get a better shot of it. Okay. I'm now at kind of the base of that building, Seven Doors. Super cool. Then if you come down, we're kind of on top of a parking garage, right?
We are.
And then there's this really cool statue of Mel's head.
Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Oh, here we go. Mark Davis and Ward Kimball. There's an extra finger on there. Good job, Ward Kimball. Okay, so this is Roy Disney hanging out with Minnie. So here is kind of the similar statue of the one that you see in Disneyland. Anyway, check out, so you guys check out these wrinkles. Look how subtle the wrinkles are, but how they're being pulled like from that button, going down from the shoulder, going up across the arm. Trying to get close. Look at these wrinkles. Awesome. And then Walt's face, his hair, really cool stuff. His tie. And we have Mickey down here. His hands are wonderful. Cartoon against a realistic hand. But look how the fingers are folded. See how they don't have space between them like I teach you guys? No space. It just shows very nice pose. And here's Mickey. Look at that pose on Mickey. See the flow? And look at the belly sticking out. The flow going from his head, down his belly, down the legs. That's what I'm talking about. All right. I didn't want to end on a sad note there with Stan Lee, but I saw his handprint and I just had to go touch and see how you know, his hand size compared to mine. I did that with a bunch of them, but I didn't include it in this video. It's kind of boring, but I found out that I have kind of freakishly large hands for some reason. Anyway, yeah, the only handprint that my hands matched were John Goodman's. That was pretty crazy. Anyway, this is inside the animation studio, and there was this wall, and it was full of images done by Eric Goldberg. So Eric is one of the older remaining hand-drawn animators, and there's just this whole wall. He's just drawn all of these and inked them. They're just amazing. I took a bunch of pictures of it, and then I met, this is Dylan Ekron. You can see how tall Dylan is. He's so tired of people saying, geez, you're tall. Anyway, this is inside Dylan's office. He has an office mate, and those statues behind him belong to his office mate. But that whole kind of armoire behind him, it was kind of full of toys and cool statues. And then I went around and we saw John Lasseter's old office, and they've kind of filled it and made it a meeting room now. And these statues were in the windows looking into John Lasseter's office. Well, I guess John Lasseter's old office. Now, what Tyler was telling me was these are, every time a movie finishes up, there is an option to buy these for the employees, and they're like $300 a piece. So they don't get them, they just get an option to buy them, which is crazy to me, but they only option to the employees. You can't get these anywhere else unless you're an employee, which is quite interesting. And then there was this wall of awards, like animation awards and Oscars, all sorts of stuff. So that's a really, really cool wall. You can see Walt and Roy images in the background, some animators and stuff like that. Really cool wall. Okay, then I went to CTN. CTN isn't really anything to see from the outside, but there's just a tent full of tables and artists, and it was so loud and so noisy inside there. It was just kind of it was shoulder to shoulder people. It was really, really hard to get anywhere and see anything. But I did meet Sandro Clouseau, and he was over the moon because one of the students, Tim Steer, actually modeled one of his concepts. And he's like, "Oh, your student, he modeled my concept." You know, it's really, really cool. He was super happy. So Tim, here you go. Here's a picture of Sandro. He loves your character there. So then I met a good friend of mine I meet every year. His name's Sean Bryant. If you haven't seen his work, you should. He does some amazing work, and he's just starting to get into sculpture. So Sean's a fantastic guy. And of course, one of my favorite artists there is Dean Yeagle. He does some really, really cool stuff. He draws some funny heads, but be careful. Some of his stuff is kind of PG-14 or whatever. He likes to draw ladies, but it's funny when you see Dean. He's kind of getting up there in age, but I bought one of his books, and that's him drawing a picture in the book for me. And then in the lobby, I met Michael DeFeo. Now, I didn't know Michael DeFeo was going to be in town, but he was, and I got a picture with him. Super, super cool. I also met with Norm from Grizz and Norm. They have a brand new book out. So Grizz and Norm Tuesday Tips Part 2, which is really cool. I recommend picking it up. And Norm agreed to have an interview, so I need to interview that guy. Also, I need to interview Michael DeFeo. He's really excited about doing one. And I ran into Emma when I was talking to Michael DeFeo. Emma's one of our students at the 3D character workshop. She was super nice, and it was really fun to talk to her. Anyway, yep, like I say here, it's always fantastic running into students of the 3D character workshop. And you can see I'm sporting one of my new shirts that I was trying out, but it's kind of like a sticker, that shirt. I'm still working on the design of it, but I'll let you guys know as soon as those shirts are ready. I'm still trying to decide what I'm going to do with them. Okay, so then the next day, I went to, so this was Saturday, I went to Designer Con. We can see the back of Worth's head there. And Designer Con was held at the Anaheim Convention Center down in Anaheim, California, which is right across the street from Disneyland. That's where this took place. You can see Mel's head down in the bottom there taking pictures. He's taking a selfie, I think. Anyway, Designer Con, I went to it 2 years ago, and it was just it was pretty big and it was okay. But this year it was just gigantic. I couldn't believe the size of it. It was just huge. And what it is, like the sign says, it's art, toys, collectibles, and apparel, but it's mostly art and toys from independent people, not large companies. Like this one, this independent toys. I just took some shots of some toys that I found interesting while I was walking around. And I met Jeffrey John Pigeon. If you guys don't know who Jeffrey is, he has been, well, he's worked at Disney, but he's been at Pixar since Pixar began, pretty much. And he still works there, and he just does phenomenal art. And he had these little tiny beavers, and I bought one of them. They're really, really well-designed little vinyl beaver toys. Really cool. And then, also, Jeffrey would love to do an interview too, so I'm going to try and get an interview with him. He's a super nice guy. Then there's like these weird, just this whole place is just full of weird stuff. Mostly kind of this this creepy horror, cutesy, over-colored stuff. That's not what I'm showing you here, but most of the show, I saw that over and over and over again. Just really creepy horror stuff, and I don't really get into that, so I didn't take any pictures of it. But some of the stuff I did find interesting, I took pictures of, like this. Then Adam and Noah was there. You guys all know Adam and Noah from the beginner series of my course. Anyway, Adam tried having a booth at this place, just selling his 2D art. Mostly, DesignerCon is mostly, collectibles and toys and things like that, but more two-dimensional artists are getting booths there, and they're doing pretty well. He was actually quite surprised by how well he was doing here. So it's always a pleasure seeing Adam. And my good friend Dominique Queck was there, and he does these really interesting kind of monstery things with ZBrush. I've known him for a long time. He's a ZBrush guy, and he's got a couple things on Gnomon if you're interested in learning how to create stuff like Dominique does. And one of the students called out to me. Well, I don't think he's a student, but I met him at the ZBrush Summit, and I gave him a t-shirt a long time ago. Anyway, he's like, Shane, come here. And I'm like, oh, it's Whitney. Okay. So I went over there, and he's got this booth full of these really cool little guys, and this is mostly what you see is little stuff like this, where it's like people just trying to pitch their independent, vinyl toys and little collectibles and things like that. So it was really great to see him. Then I met Carolyn McFarlane Watts. I forgot to get a picture with her because I was just so enamored with her designs. She used to work at Leica, and she does traditional sculpture out of like Sculpey and stuff like that. But these pictures don't do her work justice. She actually has some videos up on YouTube, and come to find out, my daughter's a big fan of her work. She said she's watched her create several of these. My daughter loves to do sculpture with Sculpey. And anyway, Carolyn was super nice, and she was interested in learning how to sculpt digitally. So I may or may not have talked her into joining us. But anyway, yeah, just really, really cool stuff. Very, very Leica-ish. So as you can see, very cool stuff. Then I was sitting there resting outside, and all of a sudden, who walks up but Brian E. Beatty? And Brian is a wonderful, wonderful sculptor. He gave a talk at the ZBrush Summit a couple years ago, and he does these really fun, caricatures of characters. You can see on the left-hand side there. He has a really fun style. All of them are articulated. And he had a lot of those toys there at the show. But yeah, Brian's fantastic. He's really fun to talk to. Then I met Brant Peters, and Brant Peters is in our course, in the course with us. And Brant and his wife had a big, big booth there. Their art is fantastic. You can kind of see Brant's wife's art behind him on the left-hand side of that image of us. And you can see some of Brant's work on the left there. Anyway, Brant's always just really fun to talk to. And when I first approached the booth, he had so many people surrounding the booth because they were doing a raffle. I couldn't quite talk to him, so I came back and said hi. And it's really fun. And then this was at night as we were headed out at the end of the show. And this is in Anaheim, all the palm trees, really, really cool. So Anyway, guys, that is pretty much it. Yeah, that's just, it was I have my headphones on now because I was listening to those those videos so I can tell when they ended. Anyway, let me know. This was kind of shooting from the hip, so I didn't really, this wasn't as super clean and scripted and professional as my other videos. But I just kind of wonder what you guys think of the slideshow. Maybe if I practiced before I recorded, it would be better, less uhs and ums and things like that. But anyway, I had a blast, and I'm, like I said, new Grizz and Norm book out. I bought Shane Glein's book, some other things. I bought Sean Bryant's book, which is really nice. Anyway, if you can ever make it out to CTN, I highly recommend it. There's also another conference coming that is being run by, it's called Lightbox. It's being run by Bobby Chu. And that will be coming out next year as an alternative to CTN because, yeah, CTN's kind of going through a rough spot right now. But it was still just a ton of fun. Designer Con, fabulous. It's always a blast to go, and it's kind of like a big family reunion. There's just a bunch of people there. I talked to Alina Tottle and Corey Loftus and Sergi, all from Disney Feature. And they're just rolling off of Wreck-It Ralph and rolling into the next thing. So they all want to do interviews, but I just gotta time it right and get interviews from them. So anyway, that's what happened last week. Going into this next week, I know this is running long. Oh boy, what are we at? 31 minutes? Oh, not too bad. Okay. So going into next week, what I'm doing, I'm doing Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is the big holiday here in the U.S. where we all give thanks for, just anything and everything. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you guys for staying in the course, doing, continuing to complete characters and spreading the word and stuff like that. I have some really, really fun stuff on the horizon. And one of those things, like I said last week, I'm working on those new lessons, and I'm working on the new module, and I'm working on a whole bunch of other stuff too. I'm just trying to get them done, trying to get them out the door. My goal is to get them done before the end of the year, which is soon. Whether I make it or not is, yet to be seen. But anyway, I'm going to try to do a Q&A session this Friday with you guys. It's just kind of I'm just going to try and do one every single Friday, a live Q&A where you can come and ask your questions. And you can ask me whatever you want. You can ask me about portfolio or, whatever. If you don't have questions to ask, I might start doing a live stream for you. That's just a student-only stream, stuff like that. And you can ask me questions during the stream specifically. It's just kind of an open, let's just do whatever kind of a thing. So I'm really excited about that. So yeah, and that's Friday is the day after Thanksgiving. So I hope you guys will be available to watch that. But I will put up a time when that's going to happen so you don't miss it. Anyway, all right, guys. Thank you very much for hanging out and watching with me. Like I said, I apologize I didn't get more on-the-spot interviews. I wish it was quieter and I could go. The only way I could do it is like invite people up to my room, and that would just be creepy, right? So that would just be weird. And I even bought and I brought 2 microphones and a splitter and this gimbal thing. I was ready to do it, and then it just turned out to be just way too noisy and chaotic. And yeah, it's hard when you plan stuff like that. It just doesn't work out. But what can you do? At least I got them to say yes on interviews like this, one-on-one interviews. So I'm really excited about that. Anyway, guys, have a great week. Have a great Thanksgiving. And I will hopefully see you on Friday. Take care.